How do you measure success? In points? In wins? Or trophies? At Shelter Insurance, we measure success in the quality of our products and services, in our community support, in being there when you need us most. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
For auto, home, life, or business insurance, come see me, Agent Janine Blankenship in Effingham.
Rob Flanagan. Well, I'm 54 years old. I've been coaching since 1990. Got a family, wife Christy, daughter Haley, daughter Caitlin, and a son Braden. I graduated from Mount Vernon Township High School in 1985. I went to Wren Lake, SIU Carbondale, and then got right into coaching right out of college. I was able to play at Mount Vernon High School. I played basketball for 3 years and baseball as well. Missed my freshman year due to a major spinal fusion operation the summer before my freshman year. So I had to work hard to bounce back from that, and actually played 3 years of basketball and a couple years of baseball at Mount Vernon.
What other coaching positions have you had before Olney head coach?
Well, after my time at Wren Lake, where I was with Mitch Haskins, Coach Mitch Haskins there, when I went down to SIU Carbondale, I didn't play at SIU, but I got into coaching. So I coached at the junior high level at Carterville and at Waltonville while I was still in school. I thought that was really good for me, and as well as McClellan Grade School, which was a little grade school that I attended that fed into Mount Vernon. I felt like I got some good experience on the bench during those years before I ever, graduated from college. And I think that was one thing that really allowed me to maybe be a little bit more ready to jump right into a varsity job at Sisney, where I did 4 years from 1990 to 94, had some really good teams there, and then went down to Carterville from 94 to 98 and had some conference champions and good teams down there as well. And I ended up coming to Olney here in it would have been the 98-99 season.
So how exactly did you become the Olney boys varsity basketball coach?
Well, I left Carterville, and when this job opened, I always had been a big fan of the North Egypt Conference. When I was at Sisney, if we didn't have a game on a Tuesday, a lot of times I would go up to Flora or go to Fairfield and watch Lawrenceville come in, or watch Carmi or Mount Carmel, those teams. And I just thought it was a really good brand of basketball. At the time when I got the job here, that was a big drawing card for me, and they were still in the NEC. And we always felt honored here at Olney we won the last 8-team NEC championship, and then when Red Hill and Lawrenceville split off, 6 teams stayed, and we were able to beat Mount Carmel here before a packed house in this place for the last NEC championship. I think it was a conference that had been around 75 years before it finally broke apart. We were very proud of those things, but NEC basketball was a big part of that, and I was just real impressed with the guys that I interviewed with when I did come here and look into the job. And it was one of those things where he left Carterville and came here, a leap of faith by my wife and I, and we just just got in and rolled our sleeves up and really tried to make it a good basketball program.
So how long exactly have you been the head coach here?
Well, I started out in 98, 99, so I guess we're probably in about my 23rd season or so here. And it's been, our first few years here, it was building and putting in your philosophies and the way you wanted to do things. And then, we've had a really good run of things here for quite a while, and it's been very proud of that. But I've probably been here about 23 years now, I guess.
What would be your favorite part about coaching?
Well, I think obviously you love the game of basketball, and I've always told everybody, not only do I like the coaching part of it, I like to play. When I was a player, I don't do that much anymore. I'm a fan of the game. I like to watch it. I like the excitement that's in the gym at Allen Fieldhouse or Cameron Indoor Stadium or State Farm Center of Champaign or any high school. gym that's full. There's just an excitement about it that I really, really like. I like the strategies of it. I like player development. I think there are a lot of things about the game that attract me to it. And then I think, I've always told people this, as I've gotten older, my dad was a farmer, and he was a big farmer in Mount Vernon. He had a lot of land. And I asked him one time why he farmed, and he had said that he just really liked the process of knowing what you had to do, being given land, seed, equipment, whatever, and just kind of doing all that and bringing it through and bringing it to fruition or harvest. And I think coaching's a lot like that too. You know, we just got done practicing today, and you've got you know what cards you're dealt. They're your seed, so to speak, and you're trying to get it in the ground and bring your team about. And it doesn't matter if you're going to win a state championship that year or whether you're just trying, to finish in the middle of the pack of your conference. There's a process to trying to do the best with what you have, where you're at. That I think kind of mirrors probably what my dad liked to do with farming. It's something that's yours, it's tangible, and you're in charge of bringing it and getting it to where it needs to be. And that's just something that clicks with me.
Describe coaching your son Braden as a father figure, but also as a coach.
I've been lucky to be able to coach him for the time that I had with him. He is a great guy. It makes me proud of him every day. I was never somebody that was going to be easy on him. I felt like I made him earn his stripes when he came in here as a freshman, and I think he understands that now. I think when tough love has definitely been a part of what he's had to deal with me, but there's an emphasis on the tough, but there's a bigger emphasis on the love, and I've tried to be a really good dad to him. The things I usually do with him have had a purpose. When I've got on him hard, it was to prepare him for this, that, or the other. That was, you kind of got to be a visionary. You got to kind of know the things that he's going to face. I talk about my dad a lot. He always had a saying, I've been 17 years old. You've not been 44, or whatever age he was. Meaning he had traveled some of the roads that you'd been on, and the advice he was going to give you was something that he had acquired that you needed to have. And I've tried to do that with Braden. I've tried to show him what's coming down the pike at you. I think as a parent and as a coach, I always feel like you're much better off trying to prepare your kids for the hurricane before it rolls onto the shore than going, oh my gosh, there's a hurricane outside our window, we better board up our windows. We've tried to prepare and be preemptive on a lot of the things that he was going to see. It wasn't always things that he enjoyed hearing, but I do think now that he's gotten older and has had to deal with some things, I think he understands the value in what his dad, as both a dad and a coach, has tried to prepare him for.
What it means to you, Braden moving to Indiana to play basketball, how has that worked out for him, but also to your family?
Yeah, it's certainly been a big adjustment, but one that we feel like was the right move for us. I think Braden is a super guy, and he has handled it like a man. It's a big adjustment, but it was one of those things where I think as a dad, when you're given the unknown that we've had here in the state of Illinois, and you have the ability to do that for your son, who's given you a bunch and you've rode a lot of dusty trails with, then I think I just felt like I had to take the opportunity to do that, and we did it right. We did the correct things, and I wanted to be able to give him a senior season. And what everybody always doesn't understand is that I lost a really good player when that happened. Now that we're back and we're going to play as well. And he has really good friends here at Olney, but he's made really good friends, and the people at Sullivan have been fantastic to all of us. We're very thankful for that. The people at Olney have always been very supportive of Braden. I mean, he was our one senior this year, and I think everybody knows how frustrated we've all been over here. And you know, hey, what's the old line? Carpe diem. You got to seize the day, and that's just something that I felt like if you get 5-6 years down the road and you're kicking yourself as a dad when you had the ability to do this and the willingness to make the sacrifices. And sacrifice would be a big word I would use in it. We've all made a lot of sacrifices. There's a lot of miles on the road for us on a daily basis, but it's been a really, really good experience. You know, and I don't say that in a, you know, it's just something we had to do, and we knew that Illinois could possibly open up, and we were prepared to man up and handle what comes with that, and that's what we're going to be doing here over the next, you know, 6 weeks or so, is dealing with that, and we're okay with that. We're very thankful for all the parties that have helped us and been so good to us in making the move.
Previous teams you have coached and the types of success that you've had.
Well, one thing that I've always been really proud of is that wherever I have been in whatever conference that we have been in, whether it be at Sisney, Carterville, or here at Olney, and here at Olney we've been in 3 conferences, you know, the changing landscape of the state of Illinois in basketball. Wherever I've been in whatever conference we've ever been in, we've been able to win conference championships there. So when I was at Sisney, we won a Midland Trail Conference Championship my second year. It was the first conference championship they'd won in 20 years. When I went to Carterville, Cesar had kind of dominated the conference, and my first 2 years there, we won the Black Diamond Conference back then when they were in that. When I came to Olney, it took us a couple years to kind of build up, but in 01, we won the first NEC championship here in probably 17 or 18 years. When we moved to the Apollo, we were in it for 9 years and had overall the best record of anybody in the conference. We had finished second a couple times, and then in our last year in it, in 2012, 11 and 12, we were able to win the Apollo, and then moved over once again, just where the wind took us, to the LIC with Robinson and Newton and guys from out of that conference, and we've been able to win a conference championship and a couple tournament championships since we've been in the LIC. So I think that hopefully that says something about our ability to get it done at various locations, and then you know, that's not to mention the regionals and sectionals and super sectional, and the ability to get to the state tournament, which is, I think, is every coach's dream. I know it's something that I'm very proud to have on my resume, you know, a trip up to Peoria. So those are all of those teams, and the ability to do those types of things stand out in my mind. You know, I've had a lot of great kids year in and year out. Hey, every coach is going to say that to you, but there are certain teams that stand out to them. Don't let them ever kid you. There are certain teams that they remember things about that season, or they remember kids and so forth. Not that you haven't liked the majority of the kids that you've coached, but I know and this is in no particular order, I know obviously my first championship team at Sisney in 91, 92 was big for me as a young coach. You know, my second year at Carterville, I had a team that we kind of put together, had a couple kids move in from out of nowhere, and we kind of put that team together and had a good team. Olney teams in 2001, Levi Jones, Tyler Harrell, Chris Ritter, Eric Reardon were seniors that year. That was our first, you know, taste of success here. Our 04 team, 03, 04 here, was our first year in the Apollo, but we made it to the super sectional. I mean, and won Olney's first regional in 25 years since Ron Herron had coached here. Obviously, those guys are going to stand out to you. 08, you know, we get third in state. Keen Toman, Tyler Miller, Corey Dunn, Brandon Berry was a sophomore that year. Super kids, great players. you know, 11 and 12 was one of my all-time favorite teams. Michael Fehrenbacher, Brooke Pompey, Joel Eagleson, Tyler Epperheimer, Alex St. Pierre was a sophomore. Those guys won 27 games, and we didn't have a guy over 6'2", you know. First year we were in the LIC, 2013-14 team was really, really good. Beat Effingham in a regional for our 20th win. It's not easy to do when you bring 20 down to playing Ron Reed's team at Effingham. That was a big win for us, and I really enjoyed, I guess it would have been our 18-19 team. Braden, my son, was a sophomore with Brent Hatton and Sutton Dunn, Dakota Brown, all those guys, Reed Dahl, Braden Adams. Great group of kids. You know, obviously there's a bunch of guys that you leave out when you name that, but those are teams that really stood out as being tough teams and good on both sides of the ball and serious about what they were doing. I think if you ask our fans, if they put aside, oh, my son was on that team, I think if they came and just generally watched our games, I think those would be teams that they would have enjoyed watching play, you know, as well.
Biggest rival?
Gosh. Here's the way I'll answer that question. I'll give you a couple answers. Number one, I always try to get a kind of a lather worked up for whoever we're playing. It doesn't really matter if it's the easiest game on our particular schedule or you know, the toughest game on our schedule. I have and I mean this in a respectful way to our opponents and to the game. I don't really like to have a lot of love during the game for whoever we're playing. I want to win, and I want our guys to be focused in on playing against them. So, hey, you can put everybody down as our rival on game night. But I think the other thing that I would probably say, you know, another thing I'd like to say about rivals, and I do this with a tip of the cap to Gary Shirley. Rest in peace, Gary, from South Central. Most people that know anything about basketball want to know how good a job and how tough a coach he was at South Central. I know after my first year at Sisney, we played them a couple times, and they were really, really good. And I was trying as a young coach to establish a program, establish discipline and all that stuff at Sisney. And man, Coach Shirley, he pinned my ears back a couple of times my first year in games that we had against them. And you know, at the end of the season, when I evaluated myself and where I wanted to go as a coach, as a 23-year-old guy, I thought to myself, this dude is going to be in your way, and he forced me to get better immediately as a coach. I don't know if that spells out rivalry, but I do know this: my second year at Sisney, we worked hard and fast-forwarded things so much that we were able to beat them twice and win a conference championship in my second year there. And I've always told people, I give a big nod to Coach Shirley for, he gave me 2 butt kickings that forced me to become a better coach. And that has stuck with me really every year that I've coached since then. So I'm not sure I always told him that, but you know, he made me get better, and I appreciate that very much.
Besides here at Ron Herron Gym, what gyms do you enjoy coaching in?
Good question. We have had a lot of success, and I love the history of Thomas Gym down at Pinckneyville. That's where we play at Christmas. Very thankful to be in that tournament. We were an original member. They do a great job down there. Bobby Wagner, Greg Hale, Coach Korn was the guy that got us in that tournament. Treated, you know, top notch all the way around by all the guys down there. So I really enjoy coaching there. That's Thomas Gym, not the auxiliary. McDougal Evers over at Carmi has been very good to the Tigers over the years. We won 5 Carmi tournament titles down there. So we have spent a lot of, you know, an entire week down at Carmi in that gym and various locker rooms and so forth. So there's a lot of memories in McDougal Evers. And, you know, I've coached a ton of games in Red Hill, probably the second most games in Red Hills gym that I have here in Ron Herron. We just play there a lot, conference tournaments, regionals, you know, every year, usually play Red Hill at their place over the years. One of my favorite places, obviously as a player, was Shagnon, the old Shagnon in Mount Vernon. You just have to be in there every day and be a Ram and be a part of that to really know what it's like. To me, it was always like the high school version of Cameron Indoor. And so those are 3 or 4 places that to me have really stood out as, I think maybe just as much as anything, the memories and the time that I spend here around Heron obviously makes it an awesome place for me as well.
Describe what it's like being inducted to the Hall of Fame. It's a pretty big feeling for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, super honored. Doesn't happen without a ton of other people that have influenced you and helped you and so forth over your career. I think the thing that it probably stands out the most to me is when I think of guys that I admired when I was young and decided that I wanted to get into coaching. When I think of the guys that I sat with at camps, veteran coaches, and listened to them talk, when I think of when you think of dreaming about being a high school coach and then to someday be in the same category as those people or teams or individual players that have been inducted into that, I really feel like it was a reward, and I'm not done yet, but it was certainly a reward for the body of work of your career. I don't think you get nominated or voted in unless people respect you and respect what you have tried to do. Always try to do things in a classy way and still be competitive. And I don't think being competitive and ornery, I think some of that is why you got in, because people respect what you put into it, the time and so forth. But when you think of the history of our state, and all the great players and teams and coaches, the characters of the game, the people in the media, the people that work the benches, friends of basketball, it gives me chills just to know that for the career that you chose, you really got to a high level with it. People noticed. Makes me proud.
When exactly did you find out?
That's a good question. The induction was in May. I probably found out maybe in the fall, I think it was, of that year, maybe late October. I remember getting the letter and opening it, and just in my heart, just proud. Felt really good about knowing that something like that was going to happen to you, and it was nice to enjoy it and to share it with. You share it with everybody that you've coached, and assistant coaches, administrators, and all the people that have helped you, and certainly share it with your family, extended family, your friends, all those people. It was a lot of fun to get the texts and the congrats and the calls and the emails. And it was a special night up there when you got to go in with all those people. They had it in Redbird Arena at Illinois State. My oldest daughter, cheered there. So it was kind of a cool thing, really cool.
Who were your biggest role models?
And when you start out as a coach, I've been very fortunate to have some guys. I always have wanted to be a student of the game, and I had some guys that allowed me to kind of pigtail or tag along with them in some regards. I felt like Ed Belville was a huge influence on me. He was at Waltonville, just up the road from Mount Vernon, a small 1A school. And when I got done playing in Lefterin Lake, he was a guy that allowed me to come in and do some watch some practices. A lot of times I was still playing enough then that I'd practice with them some. He allowed me to sit on the bench when I really, wasn't on the coaching staff, so to speak. And he just has been really, really good to me. We're still close and talk basketball, to this day. I think you pick people you watch. I mean, Dick Korn is as good a high school basketball coach as I've probably ever seen. And, my relationship with Dick went from, I was a guy working richest camps, refereeing, to a guy that was kind of trying to get into coaching and working myself up the ranks. Coach was always there anytime I needed to talk about anything. You know, if we're in a situation, then it became where we kind of started to play each other as I got a little bit more of a veteran coach, both at camp at McKendree and in the summer. As I said before, he's the guy that asked us to be in the Duster Thomas Hoops Classic. And then I like to think, you know, he and I have now become friends and have a lot of respect for each other, you know, as friends as I've gotten a little bit older. But certainly he was I don't know how much he really knows that he was a mentor to me, in just watching how he had his teams play mistake-free basketball, and I just really appreciated watching and learning from him, even if sometimes it was from afar. I think I got my work ethic from my dad. You know, he was not an athletic guy. He liked athletics. He always made sure, as I said before, he farmed a lot, but it was open gym always came before, you know, discing the North 40. And I appreciate that from him. But I can look back now and I see a lot of the similarities between the work ethic of farming and basketball season, of trying to getting stuff started and bringing it to harvest, starting your season and bringing it to the postseason. There's a lot of similarities that I laugh because I'm thinking of a story that an exchange that he and I had one time. And another great role model for me has been my father-in-law. Arguably, you know, the nicest guy that I've ever met. He's went through some health problems here lately, and you know, just a really good person. And I think the guys I've named, all of them have different personalities. Some rougher than others, some tougher than others, some ornerier than others, some nicer than others. But I've taken stuff from every one of those guys, and you know, and had and then you kind of form your own philosophy. You know, people were asking me about college coaches. You know, I probably know I was influenced a lot by Bob Knight, Dick Bennett, Mike Krzyzewski. I mean, those guys are all really good coaches, and I think they all go about it in a different way. You know, Coach Knight was a huge influence on how the game was played. Dick Bennett influenced me on how I want my teams to play defense. You know, Mike Krzyzewski, just in how what he created at Duke from, they weren't very good when he first got there. And I think all of those people have been, you know, people that have been, you know, my mom, just with her sense of humor and how I use that in my basketball program, has been a big influence for me. So those are guys and gals that have been really. Ted Quinn was an English teacher that I had in high school that's influenced a lot of how I conduct my classes. Even as he was English, but I was influenced a lot by him, and I take that into PE. So a lot of cool people that I've had influence me.